Boarding the Marinera was a precise military operation, a tanker on the open sea at night that had been under surveillance by U.S. services for several days. American forces boarded a vessel linked to the circumvention of international sanctions. According to available information, the tanker was part of a transport network used by Russia and Venezuela, known as the Shado fleet. The crew refused to cooperate. The ship changed flags, routes, and identification systems. However, this was not enough. American special forces successfully boarded the ship. The operation ended with a complete takeover of the vessel, with no losses on the U.S. side. This was not the only such operation. Over the past 2 days, the Americans have confirmed further seizures of tankers which, according to intelligence, were involved in circumventing sanctions and financing hostile regimes and criminal structures.
The boarding of the Marinera tanker, previously known Bella 1, after it obtained the Russian flag, is a telling example. Certainly a move bound to raise tensions with Russia and risks escalation, but the Trump administration likely found that stepping back would show weakness.
It seems this operation is not a coincidence, but a clear signal to Moscow. The days of dialogue are coming to an end, and Washington is no longer making empty threats. U.S. senators have just been given the green light to introduce a sanctions bill against Putin's regime in Congress. After a very productive meeting with President Trump on a variety of issues, he greenlit the bipartisan Russia sanctions bill that I have been working on for many months with Senator Blumenthal and many others. This will be well-timed, as Ukraine is making concessions for peace and Putin is all talk, continuing to kill the innocent. This bill will allow President Trump to punish those countries who buy cheap Russian oil, fueling Putin's war machine. American politicians have no doubt. Illegal oil trade has become one of the pillars of the Russian war machine and a tool for waging hybrid warfare against the West. At the same time, the negotiations clearly show who is willing to compromise and who is only making further demands.
We need a practical mechanism that will allow these funds to truly help Ukraine. This mechanism must be designed not to create problems, of course, but to reduce the challenges we already face. And we are doing everything required on our side in the negotiation process. And we expect that no additional or excessive demands will be placed on Ukraine.
These actions are part of a broader change in U.S. policy. Washington is withdrawing from some international organizations, including the Venice Commission, which, according to the U.S., have not produced real results. The USA is limiting funding for structures considered ineffective and focusing instead on tough law enforcement, direct alliances, and power projection. To that end, the USA is building up their relationships with key allies. For example, Kristi Noem attended the CPAC conference in Jasionka, Poland, to deliver a clear message. Poland is increasingly mentioned in Washington as a key security partner, a frontline state, a pillar of the eastern flank, and a strategic ally of the United States. The seizure of tankers is a signal sent to Russia, Iran, and all the regimes evading sanctions. The United States is returning to a policy of strength, based on real actions and alliances. In this new geopolitical order, there is less room for autocratic regimes to abuse the goodwill of what seems to now definitively be the world's lone superpower, America.